Hello, and welcome to Make a Difference, the show about how volunteers are making a difference every day right here in Montgomery County. I'm your host, Sandy Smith. We welcome back our guest, Gilberto Zelaya, Community Engagement Public Relations Officer, better known as Dr. Z. Welcome back, Dr. Z.
How are you? Thank you for having me back.
Thanks for sticking around to speak with us more about volunteer voting opportunities in Montgomery County. On our last episode, you spoke to us about Future Vote, your youth volunteer program. Today, I want to discuss adult volunteer opportunities. What do you have for us?
So it's that season, right? It's that season. We need a civic-minded Montgomery County registered voters to step up and help us out. Election day, if you notice, it does. Our pillars are our poll workers. The
Mm-hmm.
election workers really encompasses the best, the brightest, the civic-minded voters who step up to serve our voters on election day. Remember, we have three ways to vote. You could vote by mail, you could vote in person either during early voting or on election day. And those individuals are the ones that really buttress our desire to serve our voters. So poll worker service, election worker, or uh, election judges, there's all these different names, but it all means the same. We need you today.
About how many volunteers do you need?
Yeah, so we always talk about the sweet spot. So we need about 4,000.
Wow.
Historically, we will recruit about 5,000, train, but things come in life.
Right.
There's a family
Right.
emergency. Work is sending me to the West Coast. My daughter's having my first grandchild, and we get it. We understand. And remember,
Yes.
when you sign up, I mean, it's not like a mortgage, okay? If something comes up, just tell us, but try not to tell us on election day. We understand it, but just make a vote plan. And part of that vote plan is making a decision to serve our voters for
Mhm.
those who desire to vote in person.
So, what type of commitment are we talking about? Months? Are we talking about hours just on that day? What are we talking about as far as a commitment?
Yes. So I tell individuals, it's a short-term commitment with long-term impact. And the way it works is
Mhm.
this. Once you submit an application, the team, our staff, the recruiters will confirm that you are a Maryland registered voter. If we find that you're not, we will send you all the bells and whistles. We'll email you instructions on how to register to vote online or traditional snail mail, and you can send in a paper application. Once you're confirmed, then we will email you a welcome letter with instructions to create your election worker connection portal, EJ connection, as we call it.
Mhm.
There you put your information, all your pertinent details, phone numbers, etc. And if you desire a stipend, you need to provide your social security number because we have to cut you a check 5 weeks after election day once we certify the election. Uh,
Okay.
and so, but also you have the opportunity to decline the stipend and not provide your social security. But if you do want the stipend, you have to provide that. Once that's confirmed, you take an online quiz, about 30 odd questions, multiple choice, open browser, just read the material. Once you pass that quiz, then the system will allow you to schedule your in-person training. It's one training session. It's about 3 hours long. And we have a Monday through Sunday, morning, afternoon, and evening. And we rotate around the county to facilitate participation. Once you are trained and vetted, we look at your home address. Our preference is that you serve in your neighborhood precinct. But of
Mhm.
course, we're animals of habit. And if you procrastinate and you do your training towards the end of April, we cannot promise your home precinct. So the sooner the better. And then the goal is you serve, you're trained for the primary, and we will love for you to come back in November to help us out again to close out the presidential elections. And then every 2 years, we'll contact you. So in 2026, as we near the midterm gubernatorial, we will email you, we'll contact you to see if you would like to serve as an election worker again.
So when you are selecting your training, you can select, is it just 1 week that you can select from, or are there several months that you can select training?
We will release training dates as available because what happens
Okay.
is in the past 1 year we will put the training calendar out, and obviously everyone would pick closer to election day, and then there was a bottleneck. So
Mhm.
I would highly advise that you do your training as soon as possible to allow other individuals who maybe we recruited kind of later on in the spring. But if you're available now, I would please adamantly request that you do your training as soon as possible. We're seeing our training for, locations at half staff, which means there's a bunch of empty seats. And as the days and the weeks go by, it's going to be harder for you to squeeze into a training session. It's no different if you're buying an airline ticket, right? The
Mhm.
sooner, the cheaper the tickets are and the more availability. But it just streamlines the process because remember, we still have to prepare and organize the other 4,000 poll workers. So
Mhm.
it's really a team effort, and it really puts us against the wall if we're not getting individuals trained and assigned to the polling places. Remember, the less poll workers we have, sometimes it could affect our
Mhm.
service, right? So we want to
Right.
make sure that we have enough volunteers to really provide a VIP service for every voter standing in line on election day or during early voting.
Are there any restrictions so that certain people cannot volunteer?
No, as long as you are a registered voter in Maryland and you do the online quiz and you attend training and you successfully pass training, we will assign you. For election day, the Monday before, there is a precinct set up. So for the
Mhm.
primary, it's the 13th of May. It's about 2 hours long in the evening from 6:30 to 8:30 or 9:30, give and take on the size of the polling place. And it's like kind of put the signage and the tables and the equipment. And earlier we talked about the Future Vote program. That's where the Future Vote ambassadors are youth will see the adults in action, right? And so
Mhm.
the goal is that through observation, they could say, oh, I could do that. And that's the goal.
Mhm. Mhm.
So and also if you're a high schooler, you're 16 years of age and older, in Maryland, you could pre-register to vote. A lot of voters say, wait, I thought you need to be 18. Well, yes,
I
18 to
do.
vote, but you could pre-register at 16. And students, if they meet those qualifications, they will follow the same steps as the adults, and they will serve as a poll worker side by side with their adult peers. And in Montgomery County, because of Future Vote, we have actually 10% of our poll worker force are high school students, 18 and under. But we need poll workers. We want those seasoned, civic-minded adults running and managing our polling place. Like I said, you have to be a U.S. citizen registered to vote in the state of Maryland. So if you're watching this from Frederick County or Howard, I know they probably want you to serve in their polling places, but you're more than welcome to serve at ours as well. Um, but at the end of the day, as long as you're a registered voter in Maryland and meet those requirements and do the training, we will facilitate your participation. And there's a lot of bragging rights too, serving in your neighborhood. You'll feel good. Trust me. It's a long day. We have various positions, right? We have full day and part day. For a full day position, the minimum stipend is $250 per day. So you could serve several days of early voting and election day or vice versa, whatever you want. If you want to do one day, great. If you want to do half a day, we have, positions that are 6 a.m. to 2 or 2 to
Mhm.
close. We have driver, closer positions, tech positions. Everything is on our website. Just visit us at 777vote.org, click election worker, and you'll see
Mhm.
a series of tabs, FAQs, getting started, position description, and stipend. So all the information is on our website on 777vote.org. Click the election worker tab, and you'll see all the information as a drop-down menu. And you can just pick the information, just read at your leisure.
Do you get to select which volunteer position you would like to
Yes, yes,
volunteer
we're not
for?
going to
Oh,
force
oh,
you.
that's
Yes.
great.
Yes, you
Okay.
would pick according to your schedule. We have individuals that could do all day, and then sometimes they may switch. We'll try to keep that solidified as
Mhm.
sooner the sooner the better, right? And so, but if you pick the position, the
Mhm.
recruiter will work with you. Will coordinate your assignment. And then, like I said, the trick is the sooner you do the quiz, the sooner you do training, the more likely you get your home precinct.
Right.
Because I can tell you one thing, we have married couples, we have twins serving, and it's kind of hard, if we're not about to move someone out of a polling place to make a spot for you. So do
Right.
your due diligence, and if for some reason you don't serve in your neighborhood in a primary, we'll do our best to maybe squeeze you in a general, but just get it done today. The easiest way to apply to become a poll worker
Mhm.
is texting the word serve to 77788, serve to 77788. We have the poll worker, election worker hotline, which is
Mhm.
240-777-8533. And then you could also email our team at elections@montgomerycountymd.gov. But all the information is on our website. We need about 4,000 election workers. And there's a lot of individuals will say, there was too many voters on my home precinct in the last
Right.
election, 2022. Well, then do something about it. Serve as a poll,
Yes.
right? And like I mentioned, there's three ways to vote, either by mail, and the two in-person's opportunity is the 8 consecutive days of early voting or on election day. But we really need poll workers. Without our civic-minded poll workers, election workers, or election judges, we can't hold this party on behalf of democracy. We really need you.
And you mentioned in our last episode how multilingual Montgomery County is. Um, I think you mentioned before to me that it's required to have a Spanish speaking volunteer or person on at each, is that at each poll site?
Yes, correct, correct. Yes. So when I joined the Board of Elections in 2003, it was through the arrangement with the Department of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
It's under Section 203 of the 1975 Voter Rights Act. Every single polling place in Montgomery County must have one, at least at minimum, one bilingual Spanish-speaking poll worker, election worker. All of our signage is bilingual. Our ballots are bilingual. And, the county's diverse, if you haven't
Yes.
noticed, right? And so, but it is what it is, and it's law. It's not a feel-good thing. It's federal. It's a federal mandate. And so whether it's Poolsville or Damascus or Barnesville, we need a polling place. Every polling place must have a Spanish-speaking poll worker, as required by the 1975 Voter Rights Act. So it's a legal mandate. So if you happen to have bilingual skills in Spanish, we want you. But also, if you speak Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese, French, we need you as well. As you noted,
Right.
Montgomery County has 4 to 3 of the most diverse cities in America. And for that very reason, we want our poll worker force to reflect the community where that polling place resides. So this is a great opportunity for yourself, for your grandkids, your nephew, your nieces, your children to serve if they're 16 and older, but then also for you as a civic-minded adult voter. We need you. And a shout out and a call to Republicans. They exist. We have Montgomery County registered Republicans. We understand that the makeup, is predominantly of the opposite parties.
Mm-hmm.
Full disclosure, we have nothing to do with that. It's just the voters' right to choose their party.
That's
Has
right.
nothing to do with the discourse, what's going on nationally. Montgomery County serves, period. And we need registered Republicans. Also, quickly, for those who are unaffiliated, remember there is a ballot for you, but not a party ballot. You will vote
Mm-hmm.
a nonpartisan ballot in the primaries for school board. So we have a lot of unaffiliated voters serving as poll workers, registered Republicans and Democrats. We always want to have that bipartisan team because we're
Yes.
nonpartisan elections. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and so by all means, we kind of do a shout out to registered Republicans to step up. We really need you. So unbeknownst to a lot of my family and friends who are Republicans, I'm like, I need you. Like, I need you to
Yeah,
step up, right? Because we want to have we want to run nonpartisan, fair, transparent elections, and we need to do it as a team.
absolutely. We need everyone.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly.
We've been speaking with Gilberto Zelaya, also known as Dr. Z. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Z. You have been a wealth of information.
Thank you so much. And remember, the voter registration deadline for party to change your party affiliation, name or address is Tuesday, April 23rd. And the upcoming primaries are the 14th of May, with early voting from the 2nd through the 9th of May. So please text serve to 77788. We need you. We need you today.
We need you to register to vote. And if you can possibly come out and help with the volunteering, we need that too.
Exactly. And if you're not registered to vote, text the word vote to 77788. If you need to update your registration, text the word update to 77788. And if you want to vote a mail-in ballot, text the letters VBM to 77788. You can make it easier, please. We're facilitating access to your right to vote.
If you're interested in this or any other volunteer opportunities, please go to our website, montgomeryserves.org. April is Volunteer Appreciation Month. We would like to thank all of our volunteers that work with the Volunteer Center and around the county. We absolutely could not function without you. I'm your host, Sandy Smith. Thank you for joining us today. Thank your volunteers, and let's be sure to make a difference.